Welcome back to another edition of Silent Sirens. I'm your host, Thomas Orness. Got a lot to talk about today with the new basketball, like the last basketball week. This is our second time doing this.
Yeah, let's take two because we just had a record. So just pretend you.
We went
pretend the last 5 minutes didn't happen.
Yeah, we went 5 minutes, and then I looked, and it's like I didn't hit record. And then,
Just glad it wasn't half an hour.
yeah, that was but yeah, it was. As I was saying
yeah,
before,
I'll take over since you talked. You did the beginning, the lot talking, the one we didn't get to record. But so you were at the BYU game. I was not. I had to do taxes, unfortunately, so I ran out of time getting down there. I really wanted to go, and then watching the game on TV, I was really mad I didn't go because it looked like an all-time classic Hilton atmosphere. You know, everybody talked about how loud it was, which, that's always a lot of fun. If you've never been to one of those before, which I'm assuming if you're listening to this, you have been to one before. Those are all-timers when we have a comeback and, the crowd gets into it and, you see a team choke, they travel a couple times and BYU kind of had it running down both legs for a while. So what was it like sitting up there in section 240 that night?
First of all, there was a lot of BYU fans in the arena, and it was like I was worried about the students being there because they filtered in. Finally, it got filled up, and the students were awesome. They were making everything. They were one of the best passing teams I've seen in Hilton in a long time, and that's honestly like the formula. Like, man, that is just exactly what the team that needs to do to beat us. Like offensively, that was like the first offense that had success on our defense for most of the game, and then Lipsey just in the second half just turned up another notch and said, "I'm not letting us lose in this building," because like one of the biggest goals this year was to go undefeated in Hilton, and they were going to talk about that before the season. A bunch of them just like together, it's like, man, if we can just defend home court, we're going to have a special season, and that's what they did, and it was a fun atmosphere. Juicy Wiggle was live and well. We hit Gilbert hit his free throws down the stretch, which is huge. That was awesome. I was kind of hesitant, but because it's just weird. Gilbert during the game, like in crunch time, to get the free throws, but during like one-on-ones, he kind of struggles.
That's a very Tinsley-esque thing. Tinsley had a tendency to miss free throws in the first half, but down the stretch, hardly ever missed free throws. I mean, yeah, no, they moved the ball really well. TJ said that they got us scrambling a little too much in the first half, and then they were making everything. And then as the game got a little tighter, it made it a little harder to make those shots. And I thought Bob, got a couple of really key rebounds at end one that they took away from him was complete bogus.
I can't believe Hilton wasn't even louder, like booing, because that was the most ridiculous call I've seen in a long time. Because it was like it was like boom boom, like it wasn't like a lagging and one. It was just like boom boom and one. But they just called it on the floor, and that ref, I'm not sure who it is, but he kind of made it about himself all game.
Yeah.
The refing last couple of games, we have not gotten any calls really. Like the pivot foot going to pushing the Kansas State game, where it was kind of a big moment where that guy traveled, but they called a foul and hit 2 free throws, and that was kind of the game there.
Well, the Kansas State game, the one big swing I thought was when I thought it was a legitimate offensive foul that Trey took. The very next possession, they call a charge on Trey.
Yeah.
The charge on Trey, I thought was a legit call, but that was kind of a big swing because that was 2 bang fouls on Trey. But yeah, no, but that we can't blame the officiating.
No, I'm
right
not,
now. I know you're not, but I mean, it's like TJ said, the more aggressive team usually gets the calls, and
it's just consistency throughout the whole game.
Right.
Like, there's so many times where it's just like a touch foul. I'm like, what? How many times where we just get mugged? Like, there's one where Milan, he barely grazed him, and we're flipping, go back and forth the BYU game. And
let's stay with the BYU game for
now. But the Milan kind of brushed him, and they just call a foul, and then literally 30 seconds later, Jackson gets in and gets mugged down, no call at all. But
and don't you think that happens? I mean, all the games we've watched, I mean, the guys that have a name in the conference that the referees know, tendency to get the calls over the kids that they don't know. Yeah. Like Jackson isn't a household name in the Big 12. He is to us, but he's not to the refs and everybody else. And so he's not going to get any calls right now. Milan, was, and talk for being one of the freshman of the year, possibly earlier in the season. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. That sometimes I think those guys get the players that get the most notoriety sometimes get the calls over the kids that don't. I don't know.
And for Milan, I think if he can just maybe drive the ball more and get to the post more rather than just doing these fadeaway Kobe Bryant style, he can make those. He's awesome at them. But I think if he could just make simpler shots, for some reason, the last like 3 weeks or month and a half, honestly, he can't make set shots. He can do like the fadeaway. He can make those, but he can't. If he can just get to the free throw line and get some rhythm, I think that would be huge. But I don't know. My mind is boggled when it comes to Milan. I think he's just a young kid, and it's a tough conference, and he's been just like the physical conference.
He's playing more. I mean, TJ said in the post game yesterday, he's playing as many minutes on our team as anybody. I mean, and so he's 18 years old, and he's already played probably 10 more games this year than he played last year as a high school player.
Yeah.
So I mean, wear and tear, does have an effect on you. So I mean, hopefully having from now until Thursday off to maybe get a little recovery in is going to help him too. But
I just hope it's similar to like Curtis Jones. Really, he didn't have the greatest non-con for 3-pointers. Right. I think if we can somehow in the postseason, Milan can just turn because Curtis Jones has been freaking fantastic.
Yeah, he's playing with so much confidence.
How many big shots he makes?
Yeah,
and the deep threes, like the ones I was complaining about in the non-conference, like if he could just step in a couple, he's been nailing them.
Right.
And he's just fun to watch. And
he's money from the free throw line. It's a tight situation. He looks like he's having a lot of fun. So yeah, Curtis is playing lights out. But Keyshawn and Milan are kind of struggling right now. Yeah. But I think Keyshawn's getting a little dinged up. I don't think Tamin's dinged up anymore. I think he's 100% from what I've been told. And but Milan's just kind of overthinking it, to be honest with you. He's got all the talent in the world. He's got the size. I think he turns down some threes, getting into the weeds a little bit. He'll catch a pass that I think should be a catch and shoot, and he catches it and drives it right away. And versus, squaring up and just trying to shoot it with somebody in his face. And, maybe he's having a little confidence issue. I don't know. I mean, he's obviously the coaches have a lot of confidence in him. Otherwise, he wouldn't be playing as much. So, I knew the Kansas State one was going to be tough. I mean, I knew it probably could go one way or the other. It would either be a dogfight or we'd blow them out because I think if we would have got up on them, Kansas State probably would have folded. But we just, like TJ said in the postgame, we let them hang around and we kind of took really bad shots. Our shot selection was atrocious there for a while in the second half. And then, lost to Marion, who's been playing well. I thought Hassan played well. I mean, I know we're bouncing back and forth again to the Kansas State game, but getting back to the BYU game with the atmosphere, that's just we went 18-0. Everybody's making a big deal about it, as they should. It is so tough in this day and age to do that. But think about it. Tinsley did it 2 years in a row.
Yep, and he's not going to have his jersey retired.
That's another discussion.
Because he didn't graduate.
Yeah, but
give him a degree for baller. Give him a baller degree.
Well, that's
absolute baller.
That just tells you. I mean, just gives you a little perspective of how good that team was.
Yeah.
I mean, and winning in Allen Fieldhouse 2 years in a row, and
the teams are kind of similar. They're really older and really. I mean, Tinsley's second team, they had Shane Power and Jake Sullivan, and that could be Milan and
Tyree Pearson.
Yeah. But just like the vibe of like we won, and then just everyone walking out is just like, okay, a bunch of season ticket holders just paid like money to watch us not lose, and just like that was
so you got your money's worth. There's no doubt about it.
It was one of the best seasons in my lifetime, just going to the games, and like that was just like I dreamed as a kid. Just like I always had those tapes that I'd watch over and over again and shoot hoops on the Nerf hoop of like those seasons where we didn't lose in Hilton, and I was just like thinking, why can't we do that again? Like we have the same atmosphere. Like, but there was one year, 2013, the George Yang block charge thing, KU. Otherwise, that year would have been undefeated in Hilton, which, gosh, that was a...
Yeah, that's not good.
But I'm saying
we could do a whole podcast in that game alone because everybody was there. We're all there.
But that year, it should have been undefeated in Hilton, and then it could have led on to the next year, but... Man, it's just so fun to win at Hilton. And
how about Tamin's three comes down to tie it or take the lead or whatever it was.
It was on the rim forever.
When it hits the front of the rim and crawls in.
And that was huge. And his and one. Yep. Oh man, it was so.
I think Tamin's playing really well right now. Yep. I mean, that's the thing that really you have a lot of positivity heading into Kansas City next week is when your point guard's playing well. typically means good things. I mean, I think Bob didn't have a great game yesterday, but he had a good game against BYU. He's been playing pretty well for the most part. And Hassan, has been up and down a little bit. We keep him out of foul trouble. He erased a couple shots yesterday, which is what we need from him. So, so if we can keep him out of foul trouble, and we need the depth, hopefully DeMarion's okay and he's gonna be able to play this week. But yeah, I mean, the BYU game was huge. Obviously, they're a really good team. I think they're probably a little undervalued as far as the Big 12 goes, because this is their first grind. Mark Pope said it's the best atmosphere. Said Hilton was the best atmosphere in the conference after playing in Lawrence the week before. So yeah, they're a huge addition, man. This makes our conference so tough, adding a team like that. And then UCF, UCF gave us a game and has been playing with everybody. So those new teams have really made the conference even that much tougher, which is, when seeding comes out, I think you're going to see that they have a lot of respect for our league and how much of a grind it is, because there is no night off. I mean,
our seating has been all over the place today.
No, that is, let's talk about that.
So
that's bizarre.
Woke up today, we're barely
we're at 3.
Teetering at a 4.
Almost. Yeah, we're at 3 after we get beat yesterday.
Marquette, UConn beats Marquette, and then now we're the top 2 seed.
Yeah, as of an hour and a half ago with Lenardi. So it might change before we go to bed again tonight.
But I don't know. I'm just sick of kind of focusing on that. It's we have a great
I don't care what's with. I don't care if
it doesn't matter really.
2, 3 doesn't matter. Omaha. That's what we need.
Because just ever since Virginia lost to 16 seed, it kind of showed that college basketball overall, the level of play is pretty even when it comes to a neutral court. Drake, watching them in Arch Madness, I would not want to see Drake in March.
Yeah.
They're a type of team that could just come out. They had 7 threes in the first half. It's just man, we do not want to see that type of level team, because if that happens to us, that's where we can get buried, and it's going to be tough, especially the way our offense is playing now. It's going to be hard for us to get we're not the Fred teams where we can be down 20 and come back in 7 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I keep thinking that our offense is going to turn around, but it's just when Gilbert and Trey King's not exactly playing the best either. And it's
he's up and Trey's a roller coaster right now. I mean, he's up, down, whatever. I mean,
but he's solid on defense.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's a grown ass man with huge posts.
He had a shot rattle in and out yesterday that would have been a big part of the game. We had a couple of shots that we had been making in those comeback situations that didn't go. But like TJ said in the post game, we were up 18-8 and let our foot off the gas, started jacking up stupid shots, driving in, turning it over. And, as the old coach in me hates no pass possessions, absolutely hate it when we go down, make or miss, I don't care, when we don't move the ball at all. And yesterday we were not moving the ball. So trying to be a glass half full guy, this might have been a blessing, because TJ today has their attention. If you watch the post game, TJ was pissed, and he was mad about he did not quite, but he came pretty close to calling out Milan. And Tamin was sitting next to him, and Tamin got one question, and the rest of them TJ took. And Tamin at one point kind of had a smirk on his face, like, "Why am I here?" Because TJ was kind of going off a little bit. But
yeah, I just think it'll be kind of a your old HBA days where when a kid like me would just never pass the ball. We're just all right, you got to pass the ball 5 times before it's a shot.
Well, that's that was in Hoosiers. Bobby Knight's done that before. And we were hitting I don't know if TJ has purposely shelved this because of film for the NCAA, but we've had this passing game we've run this year where he has a signal, and I don't remember exactly what it is, but we don't dribble. It's all passing and cutting, and we reverse it 2 or 3 times, and then we usually get a back cut for an easy shot. And we haven't run that for a couple games in a row now. And so I don't know if it's because of the matchup or whatever, but I think we're going to have to get back to something like that on a possession where we need to get a decent shot rather than letting anybody go down. I don't care who it is, go down and just jack up a crappy looking shot, because, like I've said before, coaches have what are called have-to plays. I have to get a shot. And we need something where we're going to get a clean look, or at least a decent shot where we're not jacking one up at the end of a shot clock. type play because that happened way too much yesterday. And
Yeah,
so
and that the guy we were supposed to go to for the go-to guy, which Milan did it in Houston. Milan was supposed to be the guy where we can pass the ball and just make a play, in which he had two shot attempts yesterday.
yeah, none of
which
this. I think they're both in the first half.
And that is just crazy to me because like we're struggling on offense, like Curious Jones should get all the shots. Like Lipsey should start shooting more. Honestly, Lipsey and maybe get Rob Jones in the offense more because I think when Rob Jones is succeeding, I think everyone else kind of gets pumped up because that crazy spin move post play he did against
With the right-handed
BYU. It's like
had his back to the backboard, flips it in.
Yeah, like that, and then man, when it stumbled off his feet after the BYU missed a free throw, that was where like dang, and then we got another stop. I'm just like, man, we're not losing this game.
You kind of really showed me that's been brought up by other people before, but you really showed our team camaraderie. Exactly. Sorry, that when the first person comes over is Tamin, and then other guys come over to Bob too to kind of pick him up a little bit. It's an ugly play. I mean, he's going to laugh about it when he's our age someday or my age someday because it bounced right off his foot and went out of bounds. And he could have mentally melted at that point because it was such a big part of the game.
Yeah, it's just it's so nice to see our players pick up our guys so fast, like right away. It's not like, oh man, like there's so many times where if something bad happens, where the whole team just deflates.
Yeah,
but our team's not like that.
Or teams walk to the other end of the floor. Guards walk to the end of the floor and are swearing under their breath.
You can tell our team genuinely likes each other.
Yes,
which I think that's a huge part of team chemistry, and that is just like just going back to like Tyrese Halliburton's freshman year. That team, I don't care what they say now, they did not like each other. But like we obviously won the Big 12 tournament that year. We turned around for a little spurt, but you can tell the whole year it was just one-on-one most of the time. It was not camaraderie. And if that team had the camaraderie like this team did, like it would be a top 10 team like this team is.
Team chemistry cannot be understated. No. I mean, I remember one time when I was coaching, I called a guy named Frank Schnoes. He's actually in the Iowa Basketball Hall of Fame, I believe. Long-time coach in North Central Iowa, and I've known him for a long time, and I was struggling with team chemistry with one of my teams, and I called him and just said, hey, what did you do to teach team chemistry? And he goes, you can't. He said, they either like each other or they don't. You can't force them to like each other.
I mean, it's just like families. Like families can't be forced to like each other.
Right. So, I mean, that's a big part of recruiting.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to bring in somebody that's going to, shake up the locker room, I mean, Campbell has said that, obviously TJ is recruiting to that way. To shake up your team chemistry, that goes, that can screw things up pretty fast. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, if the kids truly do like each other, they play for each other. TJ says that all the time. I think they play pretty free because TJ really, doesn't get on them publicly. I'm sure he's doing a lot in the background. But I think that goes a long way too because they play with a lot of confidence. Now, he's going to have to reel them in a little bit because I think we got a little too far to the point where we were playing a little too free yesterday and then made some really silly shots or took some really silly shots. But, when Carter from Kansas State started talking crap yesterday, I thought it was on because you could see he was talking to Tamin, he was talking to some other guys, and I thought for sure that we were going to figure out a way to win that because Kansas State's not good. I mean, let's just be real.
Who's that? I mean, Kluma, like the TJ recruit. He is the guy where I'm like, man, if he would have been a Cyclone, he would have been fit like a glove on this team. Like,
he recruited him to UNLV,
and then he connections with Creighton, and then after Creighton, he went to Kansas State.
Correct. Yeah.
Which I think probably a huge reason why we didn't go after him, or maybe we did. I'm not sure. I'm completely speculating, but it's because we had Milan there.
I think the reason that Kaluma ended up at both those places is money.
Money?
I mean, that's the reason. That's the reason he went to. That's the reason he went to Creighton. Creighton shucked out a ton of money on that lineup, that roster last year.
I remember that was a huge.
I mean, Fran Fraschilla even brought that up that they were having locker room problems because of all of the NIL money.
That is just insane to me. It's just crazy.
What about this whole new thing about this tournament next fall where they're going to pay the teams
really?
Yeah, it's an NIL tournament. You haven't heard about this? So I'm going to screw this up. So somebody's going to scream at me about this. But there's a tournament next year. I think it's in Vegas. Where they're paying the teams to come, and then they get, maybe the winner gets like $3 million to their NIL collective.
Wow.
And Houston's one of the teams going, I'm pretty sure.
Wow. I mean,
We're not, but
maybe if Maui Invitational were there next year, maybe if they could do something like that.
well,
I think that's the future.
Jay Billis was talking about it on and Seth Green Jeans, the guy, he's the complete Seth Greenberg. He's just all over the map. I really can't stand listening to him anymore. But he was saying, or Jay Billis was saying how he could see, the big hitters coming up with the money at the end of the season to compete with the NCAA tournament, and have a tournament where they're going to pay them and have a purse at the end of the winner gets money. Can you imagine if they blow up the NCAA tournament, what that's going to do to the sport?
No,
I can't. Yeah, I can't imagine that. Who do you name national champion? If that's the case,
that's like the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Because like the Drake, like
they're debating it yesterday on game day.
Like the Drakes of the world, those mid majors, those are the times where those players like go to the NBA. Like they have the spotlight go off. Like Steph Curry. Imagine if Steph Curry wasn't in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
back in the day,
right?
Davidson.
No, right.
Like he was.
Well, Jay Williams was saying, we need to stop calling it college sports because it's professional sports. He said that yesterday.
I mean, yeah, Jay Billis. He wants to rest.
Not Jay Billis. Jay Williams.
Jay Williams. Okay.
Jay Williams said it.
Okay. Yeah, Jay Williams.
Yeah, and then also Seth Greenberg also said the Big 12, the best conference in the country, and he said, and put up his air quotes at why he's saying that.
Who is then?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have a hard. I didn't watch the whole thing because I have a hard time listening to it. But
college game day in basketball versus football is just not even close. Like they try to remake the college game day for football, but I feel like they've kind of, I don't know, just as me, I can't really watch. I don't know, college basketball as a whole. I think they need to rail it in and like make something about it. Like because the women's game right now is like over like in the national media stage is better than men's college. I think like Stephen A. Smith talks about like, oh, I can't even name 5 college basketball players that I can do it for women. Like Kevin Garnett said it on his podcast too, and like, I mean, it is kind of true. Like, even for Kansas teams, like I can name Dickinson, Harris, and then McClure, and just like after that, I used to like be able to know like the whole team. Like I knew like the recruits that they're gonna get next year, but now it's just like why even bother caring about that during the season because it's wild west and everything blows up in a couple weeks.
Speaking of Kansas, I mean, they get their butts handed to them in Houston yesterday. And the big guy dislocates his shoulder. McClure does not play the entire second half.
Yeah, they're going to struggle.
And so Self was talking before Dickinson got hurt, parking McClure for the Big 12 tournament. So now if Dickinson's hurt and he sits McClure,
yeah, they might get beat by 30.
They're going to get.
I don't know. I'm sure they're playing.
I think it's the winner of Cincinnati and West Virginia, I believe.
Yeah, I could see West Virginia beating them for sure. That'd be
if they don't have those two guys,
that'd be huge for if they can lose the first round. That's huge for Iowa State fans and for hotels.
Because if Kansas plays the winner of West Virginia and Cincinnati, Kansas State plays Texas. Who Texas played really well yesterday. That's who we get is the winner of that game. So if Texas beats Kansas State and Kansas gets bounced, there's going to be tons of tickets around.
Yeah, I want the Texas game. Give me Texas one more time.
Yeah,
one more time for Texas. Tyrese Hunter, who had a great weekend this week, had 30 points.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm kind of turning around. I'm just like, I kind of want to cheer for him because, like, man, he was struggling for a while. He left us for the money. We have Tamin, who's better than him as a point guard and more secure for our program. It's just like, we'll just drop it. Like, he's like, what, not 20-year-old kid probably now.
Yeah.
And, he brought us from we're in the grave, the prom era, and he came to Iowa State when he had no reason. He could have gone to anyone else.
Exactly right.
He could have gone to Kentucky. He could have gone to Kansas. But man, yeah, we talked about Tyrese Hunter a lot on this podcast. But
yeah, well, that would be a fun matchup. But who do you want to see? I mean, is there anybody team that you? I mean, they're all good.
They're all good. Yeah, they're all going to beat us on any given day.
Yeah, I mean, you want to play Kansas? I mean, maybe with their hurt, but you know how it is. I mean, they've got a McDonald's All-American sitting on the bench that hardly ever plays.
And they could rally
them, not us. I'm not talking about ours. I mean, but so yeah, I mean, the weather's gonna be pretty nice. It sounds like, and if there's plenty of tickets available, it's going to be a home game for most of our games. And
but it just kind of feels like it might be a stinker. I don't know. Maybe just the way we're playing on offense. But
speaking of that, I did some math. I mean, this isn't going to be a glass half full
Did some geometry.
Yeah, I did not do some geometry, but I just went through Milan and Keyshawn. I'm starting with the Texas Tech game. And since Texas Tech, Milan is 4 for 23 from the 3-point line.
That's incredible.
And this is his stat line, starting with the Texas game, going to Houston, West Virginia, so on. 5 for 14, 3 for 9, 3 for 10, 1 for 6, 5 for 11 against UCF, 3 for 8, 0 for 2.
He had 14 shots.
Had 14 shots against Tech, yeah.
So, dang. It's just, we need him to get, I don't know.
And then Keyshawn was 4 for 6 from 3 against Tech, 3 for 4 against Houston, and since then is 2 for 11.
Yeah, that at Texas win was huge.
Yeah.
That was huge. And my soul needed that because we only saw 3 wins at Texas while they're in the Big 12.
Well, I mean, Keyshawn has got to be possibly, I mean, he's either dinged up or it's just a pure shot selection thing. But, you know, he's 3 for 9 yesterday. BYU is 1 for 9. UCF 2 for 5 and OU 2 for 11. West Virginia 3 for 8. And most of those are inside the arc. So, you know, not finishing is a sign. Sometimes you might be dinged up a little bit, but it also might mean you're taking shots that have Keyshawn has a tendency to take shots that have a high degree of difficulty.
That's true.
So,
when he makes them, it's just like, yeah, but I don't know. Do you think we should think about maybe starting Curtis Jones?
You know, but why would you? I mean, we were over that stretch of games where we're not playing great on offense. We're 5-2.
That's true.
I mean, and one of those losses to the best team in the country.
Even when he's off the bench, he has the most minutes. So.
But he comes in with the 16 before the first TV timeout.
Yeah, which
so
there's
I
so
mean,
many media timeouts.
you're basically starting.
There's so many media timeouts. It's incredible.
Starting's overrated. I mean, he's like Tyrus McGee. You know, never started. I mean,
at the Ohio State Aaron Craft game, he was the one who we're down 10 with 5 minutes left, and bang.
Yeah,
it was tied. And
that's the thing. That's the thing about Milan. That's the thing about Keyshawn. That's the thing about Curtis. That's the thing about Tamin. All of those guys are capable of making 3 or 4 threes in a row.
Yep.
And so that's the thing that we just need everybody. Milan just needs to be pumped up a little bit, and he can't have a game where he gets 2 shots off. I mean, that's just unacceptable. If you're going to play that many minutes and have the body he has and the talent he has, he's got to be more aggressive on the offensive end. I mean, that's just, if we're going to win, that's the way it is.
He's not playing for his defense. I mean, his defense has not been a huge issue this year, but it's been honestly a surprise for me this year.
I think he's pretty solid.
He's like it's not like Matt Thomas level freshman. Not shout out to Matt Thomas, but like his freshman year on defense, or Monte Morris is a freshman on defense. Yeah. But he's really on the defensive end. He's not like a liability.
Well, everybody talked about he wasn't that good on defense, and from day one, I thought he's pretty decent.
Yeah, he's not
for being
terrible.
18 years old or whatever he is. I mean,
coming from high school to the best conference in the Big 12, he's been pretty damn good. So
no, I mean, he just needs. He needs to get a couple open shots to go down, and get a putback or one of his post move things or something just to get going a little bit and get to the free throw line a little more.
I think maybe TJ should do this move. Play everyone again. Put in Connor Howley.
And
put in the walk on. Like what we did against Baylor, like in the Big 12 tournament. That was so fun. When Connor Howley's out there getting rebounds and pumping up the crowd.
So if we have let's hypothetically say DeMarion's out. I have don't quote me. I have no idea whether he is or not. I know he just got rocked yesterday, and then he sat. I think he came back in for a second, then they sat him down. So let's say he's hurt, hypothetically. Is Omaha even in the conversation?
I don't know. He hasn't played in a long time.
He hasn't taken off his warm-up.
I don't know. I don't know if he's kind of just sailed for next year or...
Yeah, I don't know where we're at with that. I mean, is he even an option? Because Jackson's minutes the last couple of games have gone down quite a bit too.
Yeah.
So
that's another player. I'm just like, man, if we can just get him going, he should shoot the ball whenever he's in. Shoot 2 threes.
Well, he came. Yeah, right. He came in the BYU game. I think took 2 shots, missed them both, and then just didn't have that many minutes.
Because if he makes those 2, then man, it just builds
changes
on
everything.
Yeah,
changes everything.
His defense and everyone else gets pumped up, and on we go. But it's just part of me is just like, okay, either we're gonna lose the first round, otherwise, or we're gonna start picking up the steam. Because I just know TJ is one of the best coaches in the nation, and I think this practice this week is going to be hell.
Well, he's got to be careful
for Gilbert. Like, there's probably for the guys who are healthy, rather not the Gilbert and Watson. Are probably going to take days off, like they should. I don't know. The last couple of weeks, I'm like, Gilbert should just sat if he's that dinged up. because during most of the conference, he was money. He was our best player. Like most people say it was Lipsey, but it was Gilbert who was the reason why we were winning those games, because he would hit step back threes, like the turnovers. Like I think he was like a step or half a step quicker on like turnovers. We're getting down the court, and I think when the way he plays, if he's sore, the way he just falls to the ground, like the way he plays is so like elusive. He does like a lot of Euro steps, and a lot of like not natural movement for a basketball player, for I guess me and like normal people. Yeah, normal people. But he's just I think keep it positive for him, because if he's the reason, he's going to be the one to turn around if we're going to go to the Final Four.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. I could just tell when he's running yesterday, maybe he's got a little hitch in his giddy up, as they say. I mean, he seemed like he just wasn't himself, but I don't know. I mean, hopefully he can't beat him up physically this week. I mean, that just wouldn't make any sense, but he can beat him up mentally. I mean, he can. There's probably going to be there's probably one going on as we speak. There's probably some pretty rough film sessions going on this week, especially with this game. But TJ is, I like what TJ said in the post game, where he said, this isn't us. This isn't the way we play. We just need to push that one aside and move on and get back to the way we're playing. And like Tamin said in the post game too, when we're in the flow on defense, it creates our offense. And we just weren't in the flow on defense yesterday. That's
very true. So. And we, like the start of the gate, Kansas State was like one of the huge scoring drought.
Yeah.
And like that, we should have taken advantage of that. And but as you said, we were just last days ago on offense, like just kind of getting cocky on bad shot selection. But if like
that's easily fixable. That
like,
part.
Yeah. I mean, if like Trey can get hit a couple of his shots, those threes those like clutch threes that he usually hits, he didn't hit against Kansas State. And I think he's the type of player. Trey King's I think he could be a player he could just have a good week and a half. And it's like, holy crap, Trey King, where the hell has that been for a while?
Yeah.
Because he's a good free throw shooter. He can rebound. He has a decent, good fadeaway. I think if he needs to simple it down, like just be like, how many times where we just don't get the ball, and just like how many times where we get a offensive rebound and we just don't put it right, like we can't like execute the finish. Yeah. You know what I mean? We just like, then it goes back and forth, and we usually don't get any points. But
I mean, I'm a little on the other side of the fence when it comes to this. When you get an offensive rebound, kids have a tendency to think that you need to shoot it fast. They need to treat it like it's just a new shot clock, a new possession, and start over again. Because sometimes we get an offensive rebound and then we just jack up the first shot we can find. You don't have to do that. I mean, punish them for when we get an offensive rebound. You need to punish them a little bit by making them play defense a little longer.
Yeah, but the post player that usually does that the most is Rob Jones, and he gets to the free throw line and makes one out of two for lucky. And man,
I mean, Trey had 6 rebounds yesterday. 2 for 5 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3. I mean, that's not a good day, but it's not horrendous.
Like, he hasn't been god awful, but my expectations for him, I know what he can do, is way higher than like the way he's playing right now. For what I'm saying, because he's what, a 6-year, 5th-year player.
Yeah.
Like, this is the last go around, and he's got to get it going, just like Milan and Gilbert, which Milan is the biggest question mark. I feel like that if that could be answered, it's gonna be a fun March, because if he can get, like, if he hits 3 there's gonna be, I'm predicting there's gonna be like a time where he hits 3 threes in a row, and we're just like, holy crap, Milan's back, and just like feeding the ball and just get him more involved, because when he doesn't score, I think just the way I think growing up, he's probably, since he could dribble a basketball, he's like, okay, I'm just a scorer, and I'm going to score. And
he's also probably bigger than everybody.
Yeah, which he's usually bigger than the guy guarding him.
Right.
Which that can't be an excuse, I think. But which I think, just saying, like, growing up, when you score, and like that's how you your momentum going, and that's what goes to defense. And like it's kind of hard to switch it for, okay, I'm a defensive player now, and then a good offense.
Right.
I think that's like him, and I don't know. Curtis Jones is such a good defender.
Yes.
I think he loves defending, but I think Curtis Jones, when he plays good on defense and we get steals, that's when he's just so good he's a good ball handler. He can hit a floater. And like he said in his press conference after the BYU game that he had to come back for another year, which I hope it's for the Cyclones because that transfer portal is a son of a bitch, you know.
Yeah, no kidding. And it opens like next week, I think, or the week after.
Because like if I'm Kentucky or Kansas or those big people that have big paychecks, Curtis Jones would be a type of player I'd want on my team. Which that's just as a fan growing up, and we're finally a top 10 team. That's just like sucks that we have to worry about that during the season, right? When like at the end of where we should be celebrating this great team. It's just I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but in the back of my mind, I'm just like, all right, we can't really completely fall in love with these wee players because they can just break our heart in literally half a month or a month, you know.
Well, I think Curtis is from Minnesota, so I mean he's a in the area type of guy. I mean, obviously Tamin is the names guy, and you know, but we got to go out and find bigs. Obviously, that's you know the obvious problem we've got coming into the offseason and the NIL. We got to go out and find guys to replace Robert Jones, Trey King, and
if PJ can take
Hassan.
Robert Jones and take him to what he is now, I believe he can take any post and create him into a feasible basketball player for Power 5. And I think Robert Jones is like that senior day. It's just like, man, I'm gonna miss Robert. Like I can't believe
we're saying that.
I'm gonna miss Robert Jones. Yeah. We're gonna like 5 years from now, we're gonna have a team. Maybe it's like, man, if we just had a Robert Jones on our team, because like we'll probably get some talented players that want to like do extra, and I think Robert Jones just does exactly what he's told to do, just like Watson, and just like Jackson.
Plays as hard as he possibly can. He knows his free throw shooting is a weakness, and you could see his, you know, he's almost sweating every time he goes up there sometimes, and that, you know, so yeah, it's gonna be a tough week. I mean, we're going back playing these teams again, a couple of them for possibly the third time. That's always tough because everybody knows everybody so well. In the conference. That being said, when we get the NCAA tournament and we have teams that just have to go on scouting reports, are they really going to deny Milan like that? Like all of the Big 12 teams have? I mean,
if the teams can scout this team and like maybe give Milan more cushion, that might be a mistake because that's when Milan's like, okay, well, I'll show you now, and he'll make 4 threes or 5 threes,
or it'll be taller, you know.
Or just get the free throw line.
Have a 6'1" guy guarding him, and or you know whatever. I mean,
I think he just needs to get the free throw line somehow because I think he has a good pump fake. He has a good pump fake and mid range game that he can get and ones, and I don't know. I'm not down on this team at all. That BYU game was, I don't know. We lose, it's just like the sky's falling no matter what.
Right. I mean, we just like to overanalyze things. I mean, me and your brother are always overanalyze things with all of this, but it's not because we're down on the team. I mean, it's a fun time of the year when we're good. The women are good too. I mean, and so, but we also are, you know, have pretty high expectations when we are good. So we just have,
and we know it doesn't happen very often, and we want to execute and we don't have.
Well, it's going to happen a lot more often as long as TJ is around. So.
But I know that, but you never know nowadays. Things just turn so fast, and it used to be you're locked in for 4 years, otherwise you transfer, you have to sit out. Now you can just, especially with like the new court rulings, and who knows what's going to happen with that, where you can transfer whenever, which I think that would just be an absolute disaster.
Yeah, I watched the 01 Tinsley game on YouTube with again at Kansas, and Luke Axtell played for Kansas in that game, and he was a transfer from Texas.
Like, take our rules back then.
Back then, that never happened.
Tinsley's probably gone.
Yeah, right.
Tinsley probably goes to I don't know.
He probably gets paid. Yeah,
probably gets paid a lot of money.
But he doesn't slip through the cracks like he did with us. I mean, he doesn't end up at a community college in California somewhere.
They didn't have Huddle back then. And like, holy crap, this guy can.
No,
he's the best ball handler.
Seneca Wallace probably the same thing.
Because how many times announcer said he's the best ball handler I've seen since Isaiah Thomas?
Yeah, it's the dude from Missouri that is the color guy in that. Name escapes me right now. He was just in love with Tinsley, but it'll be a fun week. We need to talk about the women though. I mean,
I know Audi Crooks.
Audi Crooks, Emily Ryan. What a game yesterday. I mean, you know, Baylor was starting to get a little separation from us, and then Emily Ryan is so freaking tough. I mean, the thing that I love about her is you never see her complaining about officials. You don't see Audi whining about officials, unlike somebody else. The entire game, unlike somebody else that's been on TV a lot.
But does that have to do with maybe the camera is showing on that particular girl that we're talking about that complains all the time, that has the most national media hype in the state?
Yeah, I have no idea who you're talking about, but go ahead.
Yeah, maybe she's on State Farm, and But yeah, anyways, Audi
that's the thing about her is that I love watching her play basketball. I don't like what goes on in between plays.
Yeah.
I mean, the basketball part is phenomenal. I mean, it's one of the best players you've ever seen.
But they've already built the statue for her already, so she knows that. And like I don't know, having that much pressure and eyeballs on you, because she knows like like millions of people are watching, and I don't know what I would react either. I would probably have been a freaking jerk too.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily meaning she's a jerk, but she gets away with a lot with the officials. There's no doubt. But let's forget about her. We're talking. The women played phenomenal yesterday. The Emily Ryan getting a block at the end was just she's got to be one of the best free throw shooters, men or women, in Iowa State history.
Yep.
Because she's down the stretch. You don't want anybody else for the free throw line but Emily Ryan.
Doesn't even hit the rim.
She never hits the rim. I mean, at the end of the game yesterday, she was money. Don't play today. We have to play Oklahoma tomorrow afternoon on a Monday in the semis. So that'll be a tough game, obviously. But all those girls are playing so well. Bill Finley has really got it going with us. And, the hate that we've talked about it before, but what the hell was Danae Fritz thinking? She transfers to Baylor, plays no minutes yesterday.
Zero.
Yeah,
and
she played 30 minutes, I think, for us a game last year.
I don't know.
What in the hell was she thinking?
I think that's I don't know. The more that happens, honestly, is the better for Iowa State down the road, because you can point to that like, okay, it's not always, the grass isn't always greener. Obviously, maybe money wise, but not
the wallet's always greener.
Yeah, but not playing or what you grew up wanting to play, like our Power 5 big time basketball, and seeing Emily Ryan play like that and beating Baylor is just so satisfying. I don't care if Mulkey's not there. It's just so satisfying. And Bill Finley, you can tell, hates Baylor. And it's so awesome, because like over the years, like beating Baylor has been just like the fan base it kind of like sets a spark in our fan base that makes us watch women's basketball more.
Yeah.
And Audi Crooks, Emily Ryan, Addie Brown, and Audi Crooks, and that's the big three next year. That's going to be a great thing to watch. Like, I'm excited for them to see. I think they could go on a run NCAA tournament, because Audi Crooks is a mismatch.
Yeah, and but she's also tough to officiate, so it'll really be based on how the officials handle her too. I mean, so yeah, it'd be nice to slip into the championship with those guys being freshmen as well, and for Emily, not playing the beginning of the year, now playing really well. It'll be fun to see him play in the championship, but who knows where they're going to get seated? It'd be fun if we got it matched up with the Hawkeyes again. That'd be a tough ticket.
Emily Ryan didn't play the first time.
That's
around,
right.
And I think we might have won that game.
And Audie's a different person than she was that game.
Yeah,
she's much more settled in.
She's much more mature, and I think her during as the years gone on, her emotions don't get involved more in the game. I feel like she's just like a killer out there, and it's just so fun when she has like an and one. She just smiles under ear to ear, and just like
she's got that little 10-foot fadeaway in the middle of the lane. That's sick. I mean, it's so hard to guard. I mean, I thought the funniest part about the women's game yesterday was that one girl from Baylor that had the one yellow legging she was wearing.
Yeah.
And she made a few threes and was pointing to the crowd, she was egging on our crowd, and then she just had to kind of duck her head and leave at the end of the game, because she was talking crap. Baylor probably had 10 fans there.
I don't think you could fill Baylor. I don't think Baylor's fan base fits that arena if you put all the fans in there, because that's such a small fan base. But it's just fun to like have a. There used to be like, okay, they're the Brittany Griner, the Mulkey's a coach. They were awesome, and now it's like we're level with them, and it's just so fun to like go back and forth with them on it's just great television.
Yes,
it's just and like the rules. I love the quarters. I love advancing the ball. We've talked about it a million times, but it's so satisfying watching it. It's just a different element than the boys, and I think everything that's different about the girls is better about it than the boys.
Yeah,
and I think if the boys can just make it so it's not confusing watching, because I have to remember, you can advance the ball. It's like, okay.
And it's halves versus quarters, and we've talked about that before. But
it
should be a fun week. I mean, be nice to get at least one down in Kansas City and see what happens. But we could end up seeing Kansas State again, which means I hope we beat them by 30.
I think best case scenario is like I don't want to play Texas. I want Kansas to lose the first round, because the hotels will open up and the entire state of Iowa will go down there.
Yeah, Kansas State loses and Kansas loses. Be a much easier ticket.
It's always it's just fun, like the best basketball conference, and it's in Kansas City, and it's always like the Power and Light District is freaking awesome. And obviously you're going to be there. I'm jealous. And yeah, I think Louis, shout out Louis Courier, he was down at the Baylor game cheering on Audi, and that would have been a fun game to be at.
So I'm going to give you guys that are listening out there, since you're our loyal listeners, I'm going to give you a tip. If you're going to get tickets on the secondary market for the Big 12 tournament, do not go to StubHub or Vivid Seats or any of those clowns, because I found the AX resale site that they have, which is similar to Ticketmaster, but the T-Mobile Center uses Axis, and I priced almost the exact same tickets on StubHub versus their reselling site, and it was $60 less in service fees for the Axis site versus StubHub. So if you want to possibly get a little better deal, if you go to the T-Mobile Center website and there's a link to the Axis resale site, click on that and you should get a better deal. Hopefully Axis doesn't raise their service fees after they figure that out.
Let's triple them and just like...
yeah, and everybody's going to be mad at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a fun week. Hopefully the weather's all right. Looks like they got some rain going in there, a storm going through there Wednesday night, maybe Thursday morning, but otherwise, hopefully it'll be in the 60s, 70s. It'll be a nice night.
Yeah,
nice day. So
that's your Craig forecast.
That's right.
We'll
drive home safely.
Yep. All right. Yeah. Appreciate you guys listening. Yeah, it's a fun time to be a Cyclone fan. A lot of good basketball. This state has a great basketball going on right now.
Yeah.
And especially, I don't want the Hawks to win against Illinois, but if they do, I think they'll make the tournament. And
so we could have
Drake's
Iowa
good too.
State in. Yeah,
it's a good time to be a basketball fan in the state of Iowa.
Yep, it is
for March, and because there was a lot of times where it was. Remember that one time it was just Drake. Drake was in the tournament, and they lost to Western Kentucky, and I just remember I was heartbroken because that Drake team was freaking good.
Yep, it was.
And because that Kyle Korver's brother on the team, and they kicked the living shit out of us in Hilton that year.
Yeah,
but yeah. Anyways, appreciate you guys listening, and go Cyclones.
Go Cyclones.